Welcome back. In this lesson, we're going to go over how we got the neck controls into our scene and start preparing the controller itself for skinning. Alright, so if we open up our scene, you can see that we've made quite a few changes. We've color-coded the model in our controller set, and we've added in a stretchy IK for our neck. So if we just come over into this scene over here, we could see now we have neck, spine, and tail, which all basically are categorized underneath the vertebrae. So what we're going to do is just quickly look into the group and see how it works. So we have our obvious neck joints. We have our control group, which this time around it's just 2 controllers instead of 1. This has already been parented underneath this controller here, since we're not going to do too much with it. Our neck stretch lock group, which we could see is very similar in construction to the rest of our vertebrae. So if we just look at the limits, you'll see that we didn't put any in yet, but this is one of the last steps that we're going to have to do. And the main thing is you're going to want to remember to always put your limits in after you've set the character up. Just makes it a lot easier in the long run. So let's close that down. Then we finally have cut from will. Cut from will is that group that I just called polyspline or polyspine. And the reason why cut from will makes more sense to me is because all of these are basically lacking in the getting any type of inheritance. So their values will always stay constant. So no inheritance, cut from will. So the only thing that we're really going to need from this neck that's not already built in is control of our twisting. And this is easily solved. So there's nothing really crazy that we're going to have to do here. We just want to go under General Editors, Connection Editor, grab the neck IK, so we could have the twist. And we're just going to pull out the rotate Z. And that's basically it. We're not going to have to do anything else. For the controls, the neck is going to work perfectly throughout. Now the next step is to take our head controller, and have our control atlas, constrain, and we're going to want to point constrain. Oops, actually, what the maintain offset turned on. Then the next thing we're going to do is grab the head control, We're going to get our Control Z to Control Z. Our Rotate Y to Rotate Y. And X we're going to leave alone because that one is what these special orient controls are for. So let's try this out to see how this is going to move. And we can see that the neck's going to work out pretty well. So let's just break these connections. Move the insert key, or hold insert so you can move the pivot. And you can see now how the neck is going to roll. Tilting the head up and down though is basically going to be done alone. And our helpers here is going to actually help us reorient our X to move and turn with our head. And this is going to give us all the articulation that we're actually going to need from our head. The next thing we're going to do is go up the chain here so that we could unparent our knees from the groups that they're in. So now we're at the point we have our neck joints, tail, spine, pretty much all the joints we're going to need in the body. So in the next video that you see, the character is going to be completely skinned. Reason why we're doing this is just to keep this at a decent length, as it seems to run over quite a bit what I was expecting. So we'll skin this quickly, and then I'll catch you in the next video where we'll go in and we'll start putting in our foot controls so that it's going to be easier to see what the end result's going to be as we test them out. So with that, save your work, and I'll catch you in the next video. And the main one thing you want to remember is these don't have to be at 0, our starter controls, because they're never going to be selected. We have larger controls that we're going to use to actually manipulate the characters. These are just easy ways to import them into our scenes or use just in a specific area so that we could keep our outliner clean while we work. So save up, and I'll catch you in the next video.